Squadron Commander for the Freelancers. I just wanted to do a couple quick tip videos. I've been getting comments on my quick tips videos that people like them, so thought I'd set this one up. It's going to be called Fuel Scooping by Instrumentation. So what I mean by that is I like to fly over here. If you go over with a ship and go up here, somewhere in here, there it is, orbit lines off. So those yellow lines out there that show you the orbit lines between the planets and the orbits of the moons and the planets and the stations, I don't like those. I think it looks better without them. So I turn those off. But a problem with that is that it also turns the event horizon of the star off. That sort of protects you from getting too close to the star. And so it's easy to hit the star when you're fuel scooping if you're not careful with these off. However, I have come up with a little way that I do mine. I call it instrumentation, and I'll show you that here in a second. And it's a way that I can... Fuel scooping was always difficult for me anyway. I was not a natural at it, never have been a natural at it. Still make accidents with it. But this method helps me 9 times out of 10 stay out of trouble. Okay, so the situation here is I've been out mining, doing some panite mining. I'm in the Imperial Clipper, not to be confused with the cutter, but the Imperial Cutter. Here I am. I can get an good front external. There we go. I'm in the Imperial Clipper, the little sister to the cutter. One of the things is that this ship is great for mining, but it's a little short on module space. So I do have a fuel scoop, but I don't have an extra fuel tank. So what you're going to see is I'm going back to my base in Cubeo, but you'll see the first jump that I've already plotted over in the fuel on the right. It's going to take a chunk out of that fuel. That's going to happen every jump, so that means I'm going to have to fuel scoop a whole lot. So the first tip for you in fuel scooping is get a big enough fuel scoop. Try to get a fuel scoop at least only one size down from your FSD. So in other words, if you have a 6 FSD, try to at least keep a fuel scoop of a 5. Now, you can get by with smaller ones like a 2 or a 3 or a 4. It just takes a lot longer and a lot more tedious, a lot more time to fuel scoop. Alright, so let's get underway. We've got 7 jumps back to Cubeo. I'm about 200 light years out. So we're going to have to do some fuel scooping for sure. Now there is a way to recognize what stars you can scoop, what stars you can't. I don't have those memorized, so I always just sort of test them. Alright, there's also, by the way, a way in your galaxy map to set it to scoopable stars only. So let's get out. Alright, so the first thing, even before we get going, you obviously know your scope down there in the middle. We're going to be watching it close in this video. You see that triangle right in the middle is your ship. And so you know that. We know that. So we're going to watch that. That's going to come into play when I start this little fuel scooping technique I want to show you. Alright, so let's get out of the station. All pips to engines to get us speeding up. Alright. Away from the station, get lined up. Alright, we're free from mass lock, we're going to jump. It really makes me uncomfortable to take that much fuel off of the right, going as far as we're going, but fuel scooping to the rescue. Don't leave the station on a long voyage without a fuel scoop. Alright, I like to pull back on the throttle when I'm jumping. Tries to keep me from driving into the star. Alright, we're about to show you what's this little method I've got right here. Okay, so the first thing you notice, there's no yellow event line. Alright, but you see down here, there's the star, there's the line. There's the star, there's like, so I'm going to line my triangle of my ship up with this line coming up out of the star. And I'm going to go just a little below it. There goes my fuel scoop. I'm going to keep that triangle right at the end of that line, and if I want to get a little more aggressive, I can go just a tad below the line. Go too far below the line, I'm going to overheat. And I glance up at the fuel every now and then, but not very often. I'm mostly just watching that triangle and keeping it right on the tip end of that line from the start. You can see I'm scooping like crazy over here, and I'm not getting too hot. Done. That easy, and I'm ready to go. So now what I typically do here is, if I haven't explored this system, I'll hit the discovery scanner while I'm leaving the star and letting my heat cool down a little bit over there.
System scan complete.
There we go. Alright, making some discoveries. Alright, lining up for our next one. Alright, it's going to be a really short video. I'll probably show you one, maybe two more times, and then this is all there is to it. It's very simple, but very effective. Jumping. Alright. SPOCS. I want to call it Spox 615, but who knows. Alright, so we're going to jump as normal. Alright, here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Back on the throttle a little bit while I'm mid-jumping, keep from hitting the star. We're going to rinse, lather, and repeat that method. You have to be aware of how intense a star is too. Take it easy on some of those more intense ones. Alright, there we go. Same method, triangle right at the end of that line. Just going to keep it anchored right there, right at it. Throttle in the blue on the right. Just sort of watching. Every now and then glancing up the heat meter, but mostly just watching that line. Stay right at the end of that line, not too far down. You don't even have to worry about temperature, you just go on. Alright, we're going to honk the discovery scanner. Discovery, watch our heat come down just a second. Jumping, jump number 3. You can see it tells you up there on the right, it's a brown dwarf star, L class. Not sure that this one's going to be scoopable. There's an acronym or a saying they attach to it, but I can't remember. We'll just try. Back on the throttle, mid-jump. Yeah, I don't think this one's going to work. See how pink it's looking? We'll see, maybe. The pink ones you don't really want to get too close to. Yeah, not going to scoop. Not even going to try that one. Hope the next one is scoopable because I'm starting to get really low. How many more jumps do I have? 4 more jumps, so I'm about halfway out. So the next thing I would do is, if the next one's not scoopable and I'm getting really low on fuel, I'll start looking for a station.
Frameshift drive charging.
Most of the time you can get a scoopable every 2 or 3 jumps, though, at least.
4, 3, 2, 1,
Sort of promising. It looks like a whitish, yellowish star. That's promising. Yep, we're good. Alright, so let's get that line up all over the star. There's 2 or 3 there, so that's a little bit tricky. See, there we go. Now we're going to keep that center line. We're going to keep the triangle right on it. Got a lot to scoop this time. Throttle to the blue, come on down to get a little more aggressive, else you'll leave the scoop zone. You can see there's no yellow line here, there's no event line, but I'm successfully managing to scoop without getting too hot, too close to the star. Just going to keep circling the star just like that. If I want to get more aggressive, I go down just a little bit further from the end of that line. I start picking up heat, but I start picking up more fuel. Don't get too aggressive, you'll do an emergency stop. keeping my, not worried about anything but that line.
Warning.
Yeah, see, I got a little too aggressive.
Warning. Taking heat damage.
Alright, so let me show you what to do in this case. So, this case, the best thing you can possibly do is always have a heatsink. You'll see that I have it over at the left. Alright. This happens about 1 out of 10 for me. If it gets a little warm. Alright, let the FSD cool down. You can go ahead and honk the Discovery scanner here. So we're waiting. Alright, we'll probably have to put the hard points back in. Alright. As soon as the FSD gets down, we'll super cruise out. There we go. Alright, super cruising out. Alright, I'm going to pop the super cruise. We're going to see the heat fly off the... You can see the heat flying. I'm going to go ahead and pop a heat sink.
3, 2, 1.
May not even need one.
Warning. Temperature critical. Fuel scooping.
Popping a heat sink. Alright, there we go.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
And we're back on course, and we have almost a full tank. There's no way I could get back to Shalome, back to Cubeo in this ship without fuel scooping. There's just no way. You can see how the brightness on my fuel tank, how much each jump takes out of me. Alright. Jump again.
Frameshift drive charging.
Safest way is to leave that event line on, not hit it, but if you don't like the event line, this method can help.
2, 1.
Alright, there we are. There are a lot of things here again. Oh, I believe this is the line from the star. Yep, so I'm just going to swoosh over by it. May or may not be scoopable. Yep, sure scoopable. Just didn't have my throttle up enough. Alright. Keeping my eye on the end of that line. Triangle light on it. Nice and smooth.
Fuel scooping complete.
Nice and smooth. Now we'll hit the Discovery scanner. And we're ready to jump as soon as our heat comes down and dissipates just a little bit.
Frameshift drive charging.
QE sector, DG0.
4, 3,
Sounds familiar.
2, 1.
Alright, we'll line up. This is a nice one. There's not obstacles nearby. Good clean one to see, as you can see, just putting that triangle right at the end. We're engaging. Throttle to blue if we can, just keeping our eye on that triangle and that line. Not much else. We'll ride the plasma until we get full.
Fuel scooping complete.
Good deal. We need to hit the Discovery scanner. We already know this system. So we're one jump from Cubeo. Heat go down. We're good.
Frameshift drive
Jump.
charging. 2, 1.
And home sweet Cabello. There's our home base. Alright, we'll get in alignment with that, but just like that, you can see from the gas, from the fuel tank, we have made the 7-jump journey from where I was to here, to Shalome, my home base, in a ship that could not do this without a fuel scoop. There is no possible way this ship would have made it. And we have orbit lines turned off. So we didn't have to have that event horizon on the star to keep our guide. The trick is just keeping that triangle right at the end of the line coming up from the... And I always usually put the star below me. That's simple but effective. That's why I like it. We're going to do the loop of shame because we're talking. Studies, some people say this is faster. Do the loop of shame. Haven't been home in a few days. Funny how we call certain stations our home, right?
Alpha. The Imperial Flight Operations Bureau offers their best greetings, Commander. Access permitted. Please land on designated pad number 09.
Interdictors.
You are clear for automated approach, Commander.
The auto dock. Computer, don't hit the interdictors. Alright, so just to recap, we made about 7 jumps. Fuel scooped on just about every star we could. We did make an emergency burn once, but that happens. But every other time we scooped, no problems without the event line. And it has brought a lot of stability to my scooping. I used to couldn't do it at all. Hated it. Hated scooping. Now at least I can just do it and move on. But another key, like I say, is to make sure your fuel scoop's large enough. One size smaller than your FSD if possible. Alright, honey, I'm home. Take care, guys. We'll see you later. 07.